Hi, my name's Colin Howes, and welcome back to the Innovation Leadership Series. Today this is a special one because I've got Salim Ismail coming up in just a moment. If you've ever tried to book him on the speaker circuit, you'll know that he's incredibly expensive. I certainly couldn't afford him for one of the events down here at the Equinox. What he's going to talk about, though, is the book launch of Exponential Transformation. This isn't about trying to get you to buy a book. You may want to on the back of it. It's actually introducing you to a model about how to 10x your organization. If you've read Exponential Organizations, that was the intro. It doesn't go in to show you how you can actually apply it yourself. So it certainly gets you thinking in the right way, but how do you actually go and put the ingredients together to actually go and do it? And really, that's what Exponential Transformations and the wider Exolever community is all about.
Okay, I get the disruption. What the hell do I do on Monday? And I've been looking at this whole breed of new companies since 2007, 2008 that is built up, the Airbnbs, Ubers, etc. And we noticed that there's a completely new breed of organizations that is scaling in a way that we have never seen it before. I'll highlight just GitHub. They have no assets, no workforce, no intellectual property, and they just got bought by Microsoft for $7.5 billion. What is it that makes these exponential organizations tick? When you're running a business, you worry about demand and supply, right? And specifically, what's the cost of demand, what's the cost of supply? And you try and optimize on both sides. The internet, for the first time ever when it arrived, allowed us to drop the cost of demand exponentially, right? Online marketing, referral marketing. If you get a viral loop, which is the holy grail for all Silicon Valley companies, your acquisition costs go to zero. And that was actually the first time in the history of business we could acquire customers at no cost. So that's one paradigm that's been going on. But what EXOs do, exponential organizations, they have figured out how to drop the cost of supply exponentially. Right? You think about Airbnb, the marginal cost of adding a room to their inventory is almost zero. Whereas if you're Hyatt or Marriott or somebody else, you have to build a whole hotel. And you can't compete with almost zero marginal cost of supply, right? So now you take out the denominator and the market cap explodes of these companies. That's why they're doing so well. The question then became, okay, you can see this disruption. We can see how new EXOs are starting. How do you retrofit this thinking into a legacy organization? When we advise companies, we give them two suggestions. One is update your leadership, that we are in a totally new world. But more importantly, do not do disruptive innovation in the core organization. You'll end up with this political fight and you end up with a lot of mess. Do it at the edge, pointing into adjacent spaces. Larry Page asked me about this, and you see the result with Google X, where they have their core capability and then they do disruption at the edge. The master of this technique is Apple, right? What Apple does, unlike anybody else in the world, is they will form a small team that's really disruptive. They'll take them to the edge of the organization. They'll keep them completely stealth and secret, and they will say to them, go disrupt another industry, right? And so they have a portfolio of teams analyzing other industries. And hey, who knew they're now $1 trillion company, Amazon close at their heels. There's no reason they don't get to 2 trillion because they have no limit to their market cap. So if you're not doing this, today either you're the disruptor or you're disrupted, right? So we've kind of solved the problem of, okay, here's how you do disruption at the edge. But now the question becomes, how do you transform and increase the metabolism of the core organization? 2 points. One is the metabolism of the external world with all of these technologies moving quickly now exceeds that of our internal core organizations, right? Think about the idea that in any company, 99% of the conversation is about what's happening inside the company, not what's happening outside, right? And so we need to fix that. It takes too long for a company to accept a new idea, get approvals for things, because they're all architected for that 20th century aspect. Note that there's not a single MBA program in the world that can teach you how to build Uber. Right? Every MBA program in the world teaches you how to build a 20th century organization. So we need a totally new style of this. And so we were puzzling over this for a while. And then 3 years ago, the global CIO for Procter & Gamble and Tony Saldana, the head of IT, came along and said, hey, could we work with you? And we found it takes a company about 3 years to fully wake up and get the picture of what's going on. And we said, let's try and shrink that. And that's basically what's resulted in the EXO Sprint.